Hello and welcome to Aniki Nikki, the podcast from Japan about stuff from Japan. I'm your Aniki Pato, and today I am joined by power couple Steve and Flora. Hello, Steve and Flora.
Hello.
And a cat, maybe.
No, sorry, that was a drawer. I was closing my drawer. It's really squeaky.
That's okay. It'll be fun. We're crazy people doing a podcast.
Yep.
So, today we're going to talk about a kind of interesting topic, I think, anyway, is falling out of love with anime. Something that I went through before, and actually I talked to my cousin, who also lives in Japan, and actually she had a similar thing. She's kind of back on the wagon as far as liking anime again, from what I understand, but I met up with her in Tokyo a little while ago, and we had a conversation basically like, I used to watch a lot of anime, and then I stopped, and now I'm starting again. And I was like, no way, me too. It was really funny, but
Yeah, I actually hear a lot of people go for the same situation.
So I'm going to kind of talk about why that happens, and maybe we can figure out something. So you might have remembered, if you listened to the previous episodes, that especially the Super Aniki Nikki, where Steve was talking about how he doesn't really watch anime. So it's kind of what brought us to this topic. So Steve, why don't we first talk about what was it that got you into anime?
Well,
In the beginning.
What first got me into anime was, this is back in high school, probably very early high school, maybe ninth grade. They were showing anime on television, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, basically all the Toonami shows. And that was pretty much where it started. It was just really enjoyable to watch, just really interesting stories that you don't really see on American television. And that was the main draw for me, just brand new experiences that we didn't really see normally. So that was the main reason why I got into anime in the first place. So that's probably the best starting point for me.
Right. But you would say, I mean, when you got into it pretty hard, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was watching multiple animes at a time back then, and I was renting anime from Blockbuster, because you could, at the time, you could rent VHSs, you could rent DVDs. So yeah, I was taking in as much as I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about you, Flora? What was your start?
Honestly, I don't even remember when I started it. I, watched, like, similar to Steve, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, all this stuff on early morning television, and then Toonami kind of helped it out a little bit either. Oh god. I don't think I really fell out of love of anime. Maybe I watched it less because I'm a working adult and I don't have as much time as I used to. But I live with Steve, and it's very frustrating again to watch anything because he's like, I don't want to watch anime. It's terrible. And I'm like, anime's still great. You just gotta be really picky about what you gotta look for, And
Yeah.
I never fell out of being an anime fan. I've always been in it.
I think you're being overly dramatic about me. I don't
Oh.
I don't hate it per se. I'm saying that it's
You tell
hard.
me you hate it.
No, I'm.
Yeah, but that's not what he means when he says
I don't
that.
mean that. I'm just trying to be funny when I say that, but I don't.
No,
really mean it.
I know.
I just want to clear that up for the people listening.
No one here
Sorry.
has a prejudice against anime.
Exactly.
No, I know. It's more like for Steve, it was just harder to get him interested in it because he's like interested in certain things because has a prejudice against like a lot of the same things because anime became the same after a while and nothing stood out to him.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we're probably going to bring up on this episode.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons for sure.
Definitely. So for me, I think about this a lot because I watched a lot of stuff without really knowing that it was Japanese. There's just something about it that kind of drew it to me. But I think the big one for me was actually Pokemon. Because, I was in, I guess, third or fourth grade when Pokemon started. I remember actually I went and reserved Pokemon Blue before the craze actually started because I read about it in Nintendo Power, and they had a the I Choose You Pikachu manga with it.
Oh wow, really?
I was like, wow, this looks really cool. Yeah.
I had no idea.
And I was like talking to all my friends. I was like, yeah, Pocket Monsters. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be amazing. And they're like, no, that sounds stupid. And then it came out, and I like went and got it on, I think it was like September 23rd or something like that. I know it was in September. I'll have to look it up on Wikipedia later. But I went to EB Games, and I picked up my reserved copy, and was like, yes. And then like 2 weeks later, it was like, boom, Pokemon everywhere. And everyone was like, no, I totally knew it was going to be cool from the beginning. I hate you all. But
I thought it was cool first.
Yeah, exactly. But without the hipster attitude, I was just mad that people were liars. It was my first introduction to people are terrible and will say whatever they want to whenever they want to.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the thing that made me realize that was actually Japanese was that my cousin, different cousin, older cousin, married a Japanese woman, and when she heard I liked Pokemon, she gave me a copy of Pokemon Yellow in Japanese before it actually came out in America.
Nice.
And she gave me like a box of Pokemon trading cards and stuff that were all in Japanese, and I was like, this is so cool.
Oh man.
And it's basically her fault. Like, Kiyomi, I know you're not listening, but this is your fault. Everything that I am is your fault. So,
ooh, man.
So, you know, that was it for me. And then my dad would like kind of like mention off the cuff, like, oh, you're watching another Japanese thing. And I was like, oh, I am? Cool. Like Dragon Ball. When it used to be on the WB in the early morning.
Yeah.
7 o'clock in the morning.
I watched it
Wake
then
up
too.
and watch that. Yeah. And then eventually making it to Toonami. And Toonami definitely was a big help because like Steve said, I was going to Hollywood Video and like whatever it was, I was just working through the aisle. Like, okay, I didn't watch this yet. I'll try it. I didn't even like read the back. It was just, oh, this is in the as we called it at the time, Japanimation section. So I'll take it off the wall and we'll see what it is. And
yeah, man, I did the same.
There were some real winners there. I
did the same thing. I went through everything, and they had Blockbuster had a whole lot of like old '80s anime that's like. I was like, man, this is totally different than what they're showing on TV. It was like a lot, definitely more mature themes that we would never see on television.
Yeah, I remember like locking my door and watching Ranma 1/2, and
oh, they had that in the stores.
Yeah,
they did.
And it was,
that's pretty cool.
You know, I watched Ranma.
It was before it was way before it was on TV.
Yeah,
and I remember.
Actually, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I remember finding out that in Tenchi Muyo, when they were in the bath, they weren't actually wearing bathing suits, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. I had it. I saw something similar too, because like you just reminded me. My uncle, he's a big like my uncle who married into the family. He's a big weeaboo essentially, and he had a bunch of anime things, whatever. And I saw Tenchi. I was like, oh, "Are those nipples or whatever it was?" I was like, "Oh my god!" But I got a lot of exposure to anime from. Like my older brothers who lived in Hong Kong, they bring back stuff. I was like, this is amazing, this is cool. Like figurines and things like that. But most of my anime was on TV. But yeah, my uncle had a lot of DVDs and hentai.
Yeah. I want to mention that when I got my first like actual job, basically every paycheck that I got, I would go to Best Buy and buy anime DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were...
Oh, my God. Best Buy was so expensive.
Oh, yeah. It was like...
I mean, everywhere was so expensive.
Yeah, it wasn't...
Was it Suncoast? Was it
Suncoast, yeah.
Suncoast, yeah.
Oh, my... Yeah, I bought a lot of anime there, too. And it was expensive,
actually,
but,
the one in Philadelphia had a really good selection of anime.
The one in, wait, what's it called? The Gallery?
Yeah, in the Gallery.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I went, too.
Yeah. So I bought a whole bunch. Like I bought the Evangelion Black box set. I bought
I had that too.
I bought Cowboy Bebop, the special edition. There was so much stuff that I bought. So yeah, that just went really hard into anime.
I had the Samurai Deeper Kyo wood box burned in the title on it. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
I remember that box set.
Yeah, that was definitely a favorite part of my collection.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys actually bought actual DVDs.
Everything.
I bought bootlegs when I was in Hong Kong.
I had I still have all the Hong Kong ones because I didn't want to try to resell them, but I have a gross collection of Hong Kong DVDs of varying qualities.
Me too.
When my family was in Hong Kong, I saw all the anime. I bought a whole, I'm not realizing they're bootlegs because I didn't understand shit back then. And the subtitles are wonderful.
Well, that's, Paul, who's on the podcast all the time, has bootleg Hong Kong DVDs of Canon. And
wow,
that's where every once in a while you might see he and I saying it's shooing outside, and that's from it's the first line of Canon is he says it's snowing outside, but they put shooing instead, and we thought that was the funniest thing ever. So
that's great.
That was like a really long time ago, but like 15 years ago or something like that. But yeah.
God, that anime is so old.
Yeah, it is. There's a great. I have Weiss-Kreis DVDs, and for some reason, for the second half of it, they just completely change everyone's names. So it's like, who are they talking about right now? I have no idea.
No, I love it when they change their names. Like I forgot Get Backers, they changes one character's name like 3 or 4 times. I was like, who? No, what?
I have a Serial Experiments Lane Hong Kong set, and
oh man,
like
that's got to be amazing.
Yeah, half of the episodes are like out of audio sync, and it's off by like a few seconds too. And so I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
So you see them talking, and then there's nothing coming out of their mouths.
And sometimes they just don't subtitle what they're saying, so I'm just like, okay, all right, whatever.
Gotta learn Japanese.
Guess I gotta learn Japanese now.
Not my fault. You purchased DVDs and you don't speak Japanese. Okay, whatever. So Hong Kong DVDs aside, what do you think, Steve, was your kind of turning point where you kind of became less interested? Because I think it's important to note that Steve and Flora were like the heads of the presidents of the anime club in university.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
that's true.
It's not just like everyday Joe stops liking anime. It's like president of the anime club is like, yeah, I'm not really into anime anymore. It's kind of a big thing, you know. Most this is usually a for life type thing. So
usually, yeah.
Like, you know, we're all destined to be that like 70-year-old guy with badges all over his jacket at the anime convention. Like, we're just working towards that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think was about at the time for you?
I want to say it was probably just after I graduated university. Pato and I did another episode about learning Japanese, and you know how Pato is fluent in it, and I am still learning. But I learned it in college, and I think, to me, when I was starting to watch anime while knowing more about the language, the dialogue was starting to bother me. It was just like the way people talked, the words they used. It just like felt really childish to me, and it was just like really off-putting. It may have just been the shows that I was watching, but I don't know.
Well, no, Steve, you still say that to everything you see today. Like, I think you're like, what was it, Legend of Zelda? You were like, oh, subtitles don't match up and all that. They change the dialogue. You say that about almost anything that has Japanese audio but English subtitles.
Well, no, that's
a
different
thing. This time, he's talking more about the actual language that they're using, less than the English translation.
Yeah, no, I don't have an issue with the translations, because I think like translating is pretty hard, and it's
Yes.
It's hard to localize something that sounds meaningful to a person that may not know the culture or what they're really trying to say. So
I had a pretty. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say that I don't have any issues with the translations. That's not my issue. My issue is the language that the native language that's being used. That was one of the components that made me stop watching it so much. Another one I would say is around the time I stopped watching it so much was they were reusing a lot of stories, and I think they're getting better now, but there was a long span where it was just like school anime after school anime after school anime after school anime. And I just really couldn't find a show that it was both relatable and enjoyable.
That's true. There's definitely been still a continuing thing, I think, of kind of a lack of originality, very safe picks, almost pandering type stuff.
Well, that's like a sign of the industry, right? Like, anime industry isn't doing too well.
Yeah. That's a bummer in itself, but
yeah.
Well, I think you're definitely right that there's a lot more of that stuff, and that makes it less interesting when you're giving your time to try it out, and it's just like, oh, it's this again? Like, that's not great.
Yeah, you go in hoping it's different, and then you're like, oh, never mind, forget about it.
Yeah, like you're devoting your time, your like precious time of the day, especially when you're like you have a job and like other hobbies. Like you're investing time out of your day to watch this, and they just give you the stuff that you've already seen before. It's just a shame.
And even when the show is like good, a lot of the times we're getting those. We don't see it so much anymore, but like recap episodes in the middle of the show, like
I hate
get
those.
excited for your show coming up this week, and it's like, oh, recap, wonderful.
Well, now shows are much shorter now, right? Like a lot of shows back in the day used to be 26 episodes, 25 or 26,
You're right.
but now
that was the standard.
It was the standard, but now you'd be lucky to see anything past 12.
Yeah, Paul hates that. I think he talked about it on the show before, but it's almost like a joy when you see something that is set up for 26 episodes these days.
Yeah, like animes that are based off of light novels. That's a big offender.
Oh, yeah.
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 It's funny because it's not even like for the reason you'd think it'd be. Like, I think they tell a pretty accurate depiction of the light novel in most cases. Like, they're not really cutting that much content. It's not like they're trying to get to a certain point without, you know, I don't know what I'm trying. I can't remember what I'm. I mean, I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't remember the word I'm trying to think of.
Well, I mean, I guess light novels. The problem is they were adapting all the same similar stories for a while, like, you know, the schoolgirls, and for a while it's isekai. You're like, it was more or less the same, and it all kind of blends in there, and you get kind of annoyed about it.
Yeah, there's definitely trends that go on, and that's kind of irritating. I don't know. It feels like to me that it used to be that everything was based off of a manga. Like, you'd watch this anime and you'd be like, that's so cool. Oh, wait, there's a manga? Oh, amazing. And then you'd go and read all the manga. And now it seems like everything comes from a light novel. Which is not necessarily bad, but like, there's definitely a certain type of writing that the light novels use. And I feel like light novels lend themselves, manga's also that way, but a little bit more to this is selling really well, so keep writing. Like,
yeah.
The story is done, but we can pump out another 10 volumes of this, so keep going. Like,
yeah, I mean, that was the nice thing about an anime that was based off of manga, is that they're only going to show a certain amount of the manga in the anime due to, you know, a variety of reasons. But when you're done that anime, you can go and continue the story in the manga. I mean, for ones that have volumes that go past the anime. I don't know how often that happens anymore. You would probably be able to tell us more about that.
I'm kind of out of the manga world right now. Not
really?
On purpose, just because.
I mean, I'm assuming there's a lot of manga you could read after the anime, Steve. I mean, the anime is just like I think of anime as a snippet of what the whole story is, you know? Yeah. And there are a lot of light novels that you don't see aspects of the light novel that you see in the anime. Like, I remember I watched a YouTube video about Spice and Wolf, how they kind of, because you can't read how the main character is thinking in his head compared to the light novel, like, he comes across as a very different character. So, the anime, just think of it as a snippet of the light novel. The light novel, I'm sure, expands much more than the actual story.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
It's like that too.
That's an interesting thing you brought up, though, that you can't really visualize what the character is thinking. Like, in a book, they do that all the time, because it's depending on the perspective that they're telling it to the reader. But in the manga, it's visual, but in a light novel, it's less so. So it's hard to convey a certain feeling in an anime as opposed to in a book.
And when they make anime, they make the anime so they can sell more light novels and manga. It's just another medium to show the product. So, and I mean, that's how it is.
You're basically saying it's an advertisement.
It is an advertisement, essentially, for figurines. I mean, that's how Evangelion worked out, didn't it? Like, it's there to sell figurines. And it's like, just like kids anime, you know, they make that stuff to, hey, guys, look, robots and stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah.
True.
For sure.
What was your question?
Well, we were just talking about if there's been a decline of going to read the manga after the anime is over or not. And I
don't think so. For popular stuff, I don't think so, because, like, you know, a lot of people want to read ahead, you know? They're like, I gotta see what's going on. Everyone's into the series.
Yeah, I just think that recently there's a lot more that instead of going to read the manga, you have to go and read the light novel, because even the manga is just oh
yeah, that's true.
What we call in Japanese a media mix, where it's just a manga version of the light novel story. Like, you have Bakemonogatari, which is a selection of light novels. They're very good. And they're very, very different from the anime, because the anime is done by Shaft, and they go for this kind of over the top, on purpose, crazy animation style, which is interesting in its own right. Where you read the light novel, and it's much more like realistic, I guess you would say.
Okay.
So a lot of people, like, you know, if you ever read, like, should I read the books or should I watch the anime? Everyone's like, well, do both, because they're completely different works. Like, they're telling the same story, but in a completely different way. But anyway.
That's frustrating.
Yeah. But they're both good in their own way. So it worked out in this specific case. So anyway, the Bakemonogatari just recently had a manga start being done about it. And it's taken some pretty strong liberties with the story, but oh well.
In what way?
Some people are really liking it. Some people are really hating it. Well, the characterization of some of the characters is really, really, really different.
Like personality-wise, or?
Yeah. So, like, Senjo Gahara is like the ultimate yandere, sometimes tsundere, and that's what it makes it work, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in like, she's strong. She never shows a weak point. I mean, the show opens up where she staples him in the mouth, and he's like, "How did you know I'd regenerate?" And she's like, "Oh, you'd regenerate? I didn't know that." I was like, "Whoa!" Like, she's crazy. I love this. But in the show, or in the manga, she's kind of like, "Save me! I need help." And you're like, "Oh, that's not Senjo Gahara."
Oh,
like,
that's different.
Oh,
so
that's
different.
really different.
Yeah. And she just, like, becomes very docile towards him, like, very quickly, where in the show and light novel, she definitely does actually like him, and she teases him because she likes his reactions, and that's the weird chemistry that they have. But like, it just happens so quick and so suddenly, and in a kind of ham-fisted way, in my opinion, in the manga. So people aren't really into that.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. So, if you want the real story, or if you want to see what happens next, you kind of have to read the light novels more often than not in the current day.
They're not, are they translated?
For me, the Bakemonogatari, yes, for a lot of them are actually, and they've been working really, really hard recently to pump them out. There was like a kind of a dry spell for a while, and then they've been releasing like a book every 2 or 3 months now.
Oh, wow.
And they have a box set for the first season. It's where it's like, what is it? It's Bakemonogatari up until, I think it's after Neko Monogatari. So it's like the first 5 books or the first 6 books.
Okay.
There's a box set. Or you can buy them individually, and it's actually lucky because the first Bakemonogatari is 2 books, and they put it into 1 for the American version. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think,
and Steve, they release light novels in English too. If you don't feel like reading Japanese, because you took your time with the Haruhi once.
I'm still slowly reading that at work.
I know.
well, I think for me, the kind of point was like, actually after I moved to Japan, I might have talked about this before, but when I moved to Japan, I didn't have TV for a while, number one. And I was kind of surprised because when I was here for study abroad, I watched a pretty fair amount of anime on TV. A lot of it was like really late at night, so I'd have to stay up late because I didn't have a TiVo type thing. Now I do, so that works out. Well, actually, now all the televisions have them built in, so that's very useful. But
That's nice.
yeah, like sorry, TiVo, we just built you into our TVs now, so too bad. But for whatever reason, when I came back this time, which is now 7 years ago, I just didn't really get into it. I think there was not a lot that I was interested in, or there was not a lot that was actually available on TV. A lot of the stuff I wanted was on cable. And then I just kind of slowly got more and more out of it. I started reading manga a lot, so it wasn't like I was completely out of the otaku world or whatever, but I got really into Detective Conan for a while because I found, it's a really popular series, and a lot of people have them left over in their house and then sell them. So you could get like each volume for like 10 cents.
Wow.
So I bought like a whole bunch of Detective Conan, and then I got mad because it was just like episodic storytelling, and it was like one every 20 chapters or something. They had one, actually 20 chapters is not enough. Like I would say like once every 3 volumes, they'd have like 1 or 2 stories that actually progress the plot.
Yeah.
And they'd have like these things like, oh, we found a way to turn him back into a real person, not a child. Oh, it only works once. Too bad. He's a kid again forever. Like, oh my god.
Oh
please. Boy. And now we're at like volume 90 something, and he's still a kid, so who knows what's going to happen. It's just so popular. And somehow this guy, he must have like a secret team of writers or something, because he comes up with a new mystery every week. Like, that's a ridiculous amount of murder mysteries to come up with. So
yeah,
I wonder if they ever recycled the same stories, because I remember Kochikame used to do that, because the manga went on for so long that people, like, decades would go by and people would just like forget that story ever happened, so they would just do it all over again.
I don't know if they do it in the manga. They do routinely show old episodes of the anime on TV, just because they can. And it's funny because all the new ones are made for widescreen, but all the old ones were made for square screens, like CRTs. So
Yeah.
they have the image quality is really poor, and then they have the Detective Conan bars on the side of the video.
Oh man.
To like, so they don't have to stretch it out.
Oh
Oh,
man.
that's cute.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, I got kind of like out of it for a while, and I didn't really have any reason to get back into it. None of my friends here were really super into anime for a while, and all the Japanese people I knew were like, "Oh yeah, I used to watch Slam Dunk when I was a kid," or like, "Oh yeah, everybody knows Dragon Ball because it's Japan," and like that kind of stuff.
That sounds almost
So there was
borderline
no one to
insulting.
really.
They're like, "Oh, I watched that when I was 10."
Yeah, exactly. It's like not, or they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, it's like in Slam Dunk where this happened." I'd be like, "Actually, this is how it happened," and they'd be like, "Oh, well, thanks, I guess."
Oh man.
Oh, all right. I thought, right? It's just tough because like if you're in America and you see someone that has like, I don't know, a Cardcaptor Sakura keychain, you'd be like, "Oh man, you're into Cardcaptor Sakura too. Me too. How great is that? Let's talk about anime now."
Yeah.
Where in Japan, it's like it's a gamble. You see someone like, "Oh, they got a Goku keychain," you're gonna be like, "Should I do this? Should I be like, oh, that's Goku?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, it is." And I'm like, "Oh,
Ooh.
sorry."
Yeah, you don't know if you're a normie or not in that
Yeah.
aspect, I guess.
Exactly.
Is that common? Like they just like
Oh,
liked
yeah.
it for the character, but they don't care about anime anymore.
Absolutely. Tons of people have like nostalgia type keychains and phone straps and stuff like that, and they're just not into it at all anymore, or they're into more like, I guess, adult oriented stuff like Giant Killing or something like that, the soccer manga, super realistic soccer manga, or I don't know, those like Yakuza type stories and stuff like that. But
I guess
for the most part,
I guess it's not that different from someone having like a Transformers sticker on their car, but like they're like that's it. Like they don't like, still watch it.
Like they like the lore of it, but not the actual fandom.
Yeah, it's not that different.
yeah,
from
or
that,
even
I guess.
maybe not even part of the actual fandom, where they're like, "Oh, hey, Transformers, Autobots roll out," and they're like, "Yeah, Shia LaBeouf was pretty cool. I don't like the new ones though."
Oh
And
man.
you're like, "Oh,
Get out of my sight, you
what have I
fucking
done?
casual.
yeah." Exactly. But imagine that times like 1,000, because there's a lot more. I think it's like, anime is a part of normie culture in Japan. So
Yeah, you're in Japan and you cannot like anyone could be normie, anyone could be fucking weeaboo. You have no idea, not weeaboo. You know what I mean? Like hardcore about it. I mean,
yeah,
It's a big gamble,
weeaboo
man.
is not the right word for this.
I mean, like, you see all the time where you, if you're walking around in Japan, you'll have people that have like One Piece figures lined up along their car dashboards. And then you'd be like, "Wow, that's really awesome. What's your favorite part of One Piece?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't actually watch it anymore. I just like the figures. The characters are cute." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Sad.
yeah.
Okay.
So, I was kind of in a spot where I was like, I want to talk about this, but I don't really have anyone to talk about it with. And I think at that time, Paul was not really watching much anime either, and Steve and I were not unfriendly, but we just weren't talking like we do now.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have anyone that was like super into anime anymore to talk to, and that hurt it. So I was playing games and stuff instead, and I'm trying to think of what it was that got back into me. I think it was like 2 years ago now, maybe. Oh, you know what it was? I started playing Final Fantasy 14, and I love that game.
Mhm.
I don't play it now because I have no self-control. And
Yeah.
I can't even start playing until like 10:30 nowadays. So that would mean I probably would go to sleep at like 4 o'clock in the morning every day, and it would have a really bad
Oh yeah, that sounds like a bad
effect on
idea.
Oh yeah.
really bad about that kind of stuff. So
Steve, you played it too, right?
Yeah, I did. I love Final Fantasy 14, but I'm the same way.
yeah,
I
I
have
think
no
it's a
self-control.
fantastic game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't play MMOs in general. I can't resist.
Yep. So I was playing Final Fantasy 14, and I was streaming anime in the background, basically. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. And then I watched like The Walking Dead for a while, and then I was like, I don't really want to watch this anymore. So then I got back into anime again, and then it just kind of carried on, where I started doing this stuff I've talked about in the show, where I started watching anime while I was washing dishes and folding laundry and stuff like that. And now we got where we are now. Got a podcast talking about anime. What was the anime
to draw you in? Like, what was the anime, like, first anime you've seen in a while that, like, really got you back in there?
Well, see, that's an interesting question because it wasn't actually a new anime. I decided to rewatch Lucky Star.
Yeah.
Ooh, solid choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
it makes you so happy.
It is. It does. And I'm trying to think of some of the ones that I've watched during that kind of like opening stint or reopening stint. Well, I watched Sword Art. That was one thing that I was watching.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember. Oh, also, now that I remember, I started working. I was at school. I was still at school. This was maybe 4 years ago now. And there was this really cute new girl. And one day she walked over to me and she was like, oh, I heard you sing anime songs at karaoke. And I was like, what?
Damn it.
Who told you that? And she's like, I like anime too. And I was like, oh, neat. Nice. And so we started talking, and I asked her for some recommendations because I was out of anime for like a couple of years. So like I was like, what do you think are like the best couple of shows to come out over the last couple of seasons? And she gave me a list, and it was Yuru Yuri and The Devil is a Part-Timer.
Solid.
And some other really good ones that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yuri, really?
Yeah, I was like, and as soon as I started watching it, I was like, wow, she took a big gamble on
yeah, she definitely did.
Yeah, Yuri is a strange series. I couldn't really get into that one personally, but Devil is a Part-Timer is a good series.
I did not enjoy that show at all. Although I did watch it. Oh, you liked it?
Oh, I did. Yeah, it was stupid. It was fun.
Well, I mean, it definitely was stupid.
Too stupid for me. It was like, ugh.
Well, you know what it was? I think the reason that she decided to take that big gamble is because we talked about Oreimo.
Okay. That makes more sense then.
I love Oreimo.
And I was like, Chronicle for life. And she was like, yeah, Chronicle! And
whatever.
Sorry, everyone. Flora has a minor developmental disability, and for some reason, like
that's
Kirino,
very true.
Kirino's the best girl, okay?
Kirino is his blood sister, okay? That's weird.
But I know, but I still love her. They don't have to do each other.
Yeah, but they did.
They actually are blood sisters. They actually are blood?
Yes, they are.
Actually, I did not remember that part.
Wasn't the light novel different?
Well,
I thought the light novel was a little bit different.
The light novel, like, they weren't allowed to get married or something, and then they made the anime part as, like, a FU to the publisher of the light novel, if I'm remembering correctly. Maybe we'll do a series about differences between the source material and the anime, and we'll talk about that at some point. But anyway, so she recommended me this, like, bomb selection of shows, and I was like, yes. And then I went way off the deep end again.
So you surrounded yourself with trashy anime and you enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because trashy animes, I mean, if it makes you feel happy, I mean, fuck it, whatever, just enjoy it. That's how I see it. I watch a lot of trash. Some of them I really love. Some of them I just hate. I want to burn them.
I'm
really
okay.
Bad.
I'm okay with trash anime as long as the characters are good. Like what was that show that I watched?
Wow.
Chunibyo.
Chunibyo?
Like that.
Chunibyo's not trashy. That
show is definitely trashy.
Actually, see, when you picked it up, I was like, well, that's unusual because I consider it on not the trashy side, but it's like the lower spectrum of what you would recommend. I would have recommended you. So I was so surprised you picked it up. I was like, all right, I'm all about it.
No,
I'm saying that series.
I'm saying like that show, like nothing happened in that show. Like literally nothing. True. It was like
that's true.
Yeah.
And some people might not like the characters,
but like I was okay.
I loved all the characters.
Yeah, I mean,
I loved all of them too.
That was why I loved the show, because the characters were so awesome and just really enjoyable to watch.
And I mean, even if not a lot happened in the story, the character development that happened throughout the show was interesting, right? I mean,
oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's part of the reason why I enjoyed the characters, because they developed in an interesting way.
Yeah, I think the key between trashy terrible, trashy good is whether or not you like a character or not. If you are watching an anime and you can't find any character you like, you're just gonna feel anger the entire time. I felt anger towards a lot of anime when I was watching a lot of shit anime.
Like Arrow manga?
No, I mean, okay, I liked Sagiri, but she was just... I mean, she was what carried it, but then it was just so terrible to think. But yeah, she saved it for me because she was really cute. And the other girls, I couldn't stand the other girls at all.
Yeah, everyone else sucks in that show.
Like seriously,
Sagiri is interesting.
Like, what's up with that short hair girl? She's like, I love you. I was like, you barely know the damn guy. What the fuck?
Oh yeah. Well, funny story. That single line stopped Jordan from watching it at all.
Oh.
He was like,
oh, really?
I'm not going to watch this anymore. Yeah. He was like, I don't like
bad.
this.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because it came out of nowhere.
He's like, this is too much. Like,
it seems so out of place. Like, she barely knows. Yeah. She barely knows him.
Well, I mean, they try to bring it back later, and it's really ham-fistedly done and stupid. Where like she doesn't have any contact with boys, so she's always talking to her younger brother, who's like 4.
Yeah.
So she's like, "What do boys like?" And he's like, "Dicks." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, shows up, and she's like, "Yeah, dicks. I love dicks. Everyone loves dicks." I'm like, okay.
They tried.
No, they didn't even try. They were just
no, I know.
They're just like, oh, we have to like come up with an excuse because we went too far. And they're like, oh. She doesn't know video, so she asked her younger brother, like, and he's 4, and that's okay.
I just thought of something, and this is another reason why anime infuriates me sometimes. Can we talk about ReZero? Can we talk about ReZero for a minute?
Oh, let's talk about ReZero.
I want to talk about ReZero. All right, so to everyone that's listening, I just finished watching ReZero. I know it came out 2 years ago, but whatever. I very much did not like that show. And it's for it's for all the really bad reasons. People told me that, and Flora told me this too, that you need to keep watching because the show gets good. I don't like shows that do that. I would rather them have a show that's interesting and fun right from the beginning. I don't want to have to suffer through so many episodes to get to a part that's worth my time. It's just like bad storytelling to me.
True.
Yeah, you were nearly quitting that anime. I was like, just keep watching, and you were not happy.
I was about to quit. Yeah, I did quit. I stopped at like episode 13 because I'm like, this show is stupid. It's fucking terrible. I can't stand Subaru at all. He's literally the worst. He's one of the worst designed protagonists I have ever seen in an anime. Period.
I heard that he was depicted a little bit differently in the what do you call it, the light novels, but yeah, I don't know what the differences are on top of my head.
That's great, but that's the light novel. That's not the anime.
I know. I'm just talking about something I've heard. It's frustrating. I agree with you there. I actually was thinking the same exact thing, but there was no one to tell me to continue. I just like, let me just continue watching because everyone was saying it was good, So I went for the same exact thing.
They don't explain anything to you at all. You just have to like accept what's happening is fine. Like, I just feel like it was 25 episodes. It was 25, right?
Yeah, about that much.
They had a plethora of time to explain things, but they didn't. They kept just like drawing shit out to the point where it was just really boring to watch.
Well, one thing I definitely didn't like about it was just the beginning. It was like, oh, I read a magazine, boom, I'm in another world. And that's just how it is. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, no explanation.
Yep.
I was like, oh,
And we're never going to go back. Like, we're never going to readdress this issue. Like,
And
it's just how it
he
is
never
because we
gets
need
out
to get
either.
into another world.
He never gets out either. Like the anime just ends, and I'm like, did it? Like he fulfilled his thing, I guess. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what the point of it was.
I think they're just. See, I think they're like, well, if you want to know more, you got to read the light novel at that point.
Yeah.
That's infuriating.
I mean, that's how a
And-
lot of it is doing these days.
You're right in that it was a really poorly told story because, like, Ram just disappears. And they don't even talk about it. There's no one's even like, where is Rem? I feel like we were missing a key scene from the light novel where she's like, I'm gonna go and do stuff. And he's like, okay. And then, well, what happened to her? No one cares because I love Amelia. Like,
Yeah, they never explained the return by death thing either, and how there's like a hand thing and it like grabs his heart. I'm like, was that the witch? Who was that?
I like I said, I think that would be like, read the light novel to see more. I think that's what that essentially is going on,
yeah.
right?
I feel like what we saw in the anime was like the first major arc, and then there's going to be more in the light novels about like what is his return to his return from death mechanic and who is it, and then going to fight that person, and then they get rid of it, and then probably how it ends is he can't return from death anymore, and then when he finally dies, probably as an old man surrounded by his maids, he wakes up back in the convenience store, remembering everything, but being 15 again or whatever, and he's just like crying, and he's like, it was real to me, and then it's over.
I mean, I would have been okay with a story like that.
Well,
But
maybe
they
we have
probably
to
did-
read
they
the books then.
Read the light
Or
novels.
probably 50 more episodes. Yeah, but it's an advertisement. Read the light novels, essentially.
And
And
they
it's
would,
like, I kind of want to, but then I kind of don't want to, too.
if the light novels are
Because
anything,
what if it's not better?
Yeah, if the light novels are anything like Subaru in the anime, I have no interest in reading any of that.
Well,
Yeah, I hate him.
he may be different, but like I can't say anything.
The beginning is fine. Like, I feel like it had a really strong start.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It did.
But it just like,
And,
it
like,
just,
it had a lot of interesting ideas.
yeah, for sure.
Like, the getting his body taken over by that guy and then getting back was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
oh
Like
well.
I like that. Like he like learned like what he needed to do after he would die. Like that was cool. I like that. It's like it's like a video game. You're like, okay, I know what to do now. Now I can do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, sorry that you didn't like ReZero, even though we made you watch it.
It's okay. I really liked Rem and Ram. They were really good characters. And
Yeah, I was like, see, you'll never understand Rem's love until you watch this part. And he was like,
I
he
also,
understands them now.
I also didn't understand, like, Subaru was like, hey, let's run away together. I'm like, wait, what about Amelia? What? You're just going to toss that bitch aside?
Yeah, then Ram's
Yes.
like, alright, let's run away together. And he's like, no, I love Amelia.
Yeah, I was like, what?
and everyone got
Whoa,
outraged.
dude. Yeah.
Ugh.
Why? How could you not get outraged? That's my question.
So, Steve, is ReZero just did it push you out of anime or back in again?
No, I'm still fine with anime. Like, I didn't, I mean, I regret watching it a little bit, but it's not going to make me stop watching anime. I'm just going to move on to something else. Maybe I'll just rewatch Bakemonogatari again.
Yes, do that.
And just
That's
go through
quality.
the Monogatari series.
And when it comes to like the whole anime thing, like I've been going to anime conventions for a while and all this stuff, and Steve just doesn't really care. He just kind of goes along with me in the crowd, and it's kind of like, it was kind of sad for him. I was like, Steve's not into anime, but he's still going with me to cons, it's cool, I guess.
I mean, I like going to panels and learning things. That's the main reason why I
And
still
that's true,
like
and
going.
they can recommend different anime for you, so you can learn different. Like, we'd like to go to, at Otakon, they had, we call it, like, new anime for older fans. We're older fans. It was nice to go to things like that, because, like I said,
sounds
school
like a
anime,
good concept of a panel. I would go to that.
yeah, they usually do a good job.
They recommended Banana Fish.
Um,
Yeah,
Well,
banana fish.
no, did they, Steve?
Yeah, they did.
I don't Oh, I guess I forgot.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they recommended a lot of good anime.
Yeah, they recommended Kado, The Final Answer. I definitely want to watch that.
They recommended Shirobako, which is something I like. It's one of my favorite anime to this day. Like, I love Shirobako so much. And what was the other ones I recommended? But stuff like that is good because, when we have all this high school anime saturates, all that stuff. So it's good to look out for stuff like that to bring us back into anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Steve, what would you say you look for in an anime before or now? Because I think both of us, when we were in university, we're just kind of like, oh, it's an anime, I'll watch it, and I'll probably like it. But what would you say you look for now as your, like, I'm going to continue watching this kind of thing?
Titties.
No. I like stories that haven't been done before. Just really interesting worlds. That's why I was interested in seeing ReZero, because I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. It's kind of like sword art in a weird way. And I like interesting characters too. Not ones that are like over the top moe. Like, well, I enjoy moe sometimes, but I think nowadays I would try and find something that's not like that.
Yeah, I have had a lower tolerance for moe than I have in the past. For sure.
Yeah, I mean the anime of the year for me, but this was shown last year, I think. Made in Abyss.
I'm watching that right now.
Oh, good.
Finally.
Good.
Oh,
I'm glad.
Yeah, I had to recommend Made in Abyss to Steve. I had to convince Steve it's very different, so I was able to draw in Steve that way, and I was glad he got on board with that.
I mean, it's easily...
Right, well, no spoilers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's...
No, don't worry. It's not talking about how nice it is.
Like, to me, it was easily one of the best animes I've ever watched.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's a bold statement, but I stand by it.
Well, I will get on that then. I also have some other stuff that I've prepared because I got current on the shows I was watching because I dropped a bunch. But
you mean like
that's good then.
The badminton anime, you mean?
Yeah, well, I actually re-downloaded that because I was bored. Other stuff I dropped. Well, I already talked about it in another episode. So, but yeah, I was just not happy with a lot of the stuff that I thought was going to be interesting. So.
I think for Steve, it's a combination of like. Actually, I think Steve, you just mostly go for recommendations these days, don't you?
Yeah, I don't actively seek out shows myself.
Yeah, because Made in Abyss was my recommendation. I also recommended you One Punch Man, and did you watch Mob Psycho?
No.
Ooh, okay, Mob Psycho is very good.
It's very good. Like I think Steve, he has a hard time trusting me, but I think I try to filter out shitty things between shitty things and good things, So
no, I think
hopefully Steve.
No, I think Flora does a good job with recommending animes. I think she gets my taste now.
But you watch like Psychono and Rika, whatever, Shinubio. I was like, what?
Shinubio, yeah.
Oh, God. Go ahead.
Well, I also vouch for Mob Psycho, so
okay,
you should definitely get on that.
Okay,
but I'd watch Bakemonogatari first, unless you're in a silly mood.
Okay,
like if you're in the mood for like a more serious story with some comedy mixed in, then go for Bakemonogatari. If you're in the mood for a kind of silly story with some seriousness mixed in, go for Mob Psycho.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I mean, I can watch
Mob
both.
Psycho it's enjoyable all the way around. But Steve, would you say you're so out of love of anime, or are you slowly going back in because of us?
I'm starting to enjoy it a little more. For me, it's just like finding the time outside of the other hobbies that I do. Like, I have a huge backlog of video games that I'm still trying to work through. There's K-pop stuff that I watch and variety shows like that. I just like do a lot of other mediums that aren't anime. So it's just a matter of like setting time aside.
I think that's a big thing for me too. Is running a D&D game and then doing this podcast and stuff and I'm actually doing a little bit of translation again.
Oh.
So I definitely have like less time. So I'm only really watching when I'm doing dishes and stuff. So
yeah,
gotta be more careful about what I choose because of my limited time.
Yeah, well, Flora does that too. She watches anime at the gym.
Yeah.
at the gym. I sometimes like when I come home, I watch like 10 episodes of an anime, so I'll save the rest for later because I'm like short on time for a lot of things. But I find ways to squeeze back things. I used to watch a lot of anime, back then, like kind of like you guys did. So I'm kind of picky, but if I start something, I'll try to finish it. Like there was one anime, what was it, Masamune-kun? I'm not really enjoying it as much as I would want to, but I'm still going to finish it because I'm almost done anyway.
That makes me sad because I really like that show.
I'm sorry. I'm not feeling any of the characters, but so far. But I'm on like the last 3 episodes, so I'll continue watching it. Like if I'm near the end, I will finish the series to give it a proper criticism. I don't drop anime typically. If I drop an anime, it's usually like the first episode. I don't feel like watching the rest of it. Because
I used to never drop an anime. If I started, I was going to finish it, and just this last season or 2, I'm just like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. I had to stop.
It's like, why do I want to make myself feel unhappy?
Yeah, like I said, it's a limited time.
Back in my university days, I would like download every show that was airing that current season and just like watch first 3 episodes just to see like what would be worth watching.
Yeah,
I don't have time for that anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
The good old days when I was a college kid and I watched a lot of anime.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like that a lot.
Definitely did that.
That was like 10 years. That was like 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago.
It was, yeah. 10 years ago,
10 years
it's
ago.
a good one.
It's a good
year. And then you go to conventions and no one knows these older anime. It makes me think of that one time this one person I know, he was like about like Naruto. He's like, oh, you could have watched past the fillers. I'm like, I couldn't skip it back then. It was Eric at the time. I'm not a kid like you were.
yeah, man. We had to suffer. We suffered through that.
I was like, I can't skip past
2 years of filler.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, when the kids said to me, I was like, you're much younger than I thought you were.
like you don't even know.
It's like, you don't know what it's like to be my age watching.
Man, filler doesn't even exist anymore. The shows are too short now.
Well, yeah.
There are some, but there's just like one episodics, I think.
Actually, well, I mean, it's mostly just like the shonen type shows that are doing it now, where it used to be like a industry-wide problem, I feel.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I guess shorter episodes with less filler is good, but like...
Doesn't Japan love filler, though? They're like, man, we love them
They
guidance.
do. Yeah.
It's like, all right.
I don't know, Japan is interesting, This is kind of off topic, but I feel like saying it now. But, you have Dragon Ball, right? Where everyone on the English internet goes crazy over what's canon and what's not canon. We're like, Dragon Ball GT is not canon, Super Saiyan 4 is not canon, so that doesn't count. Like, because they're so desperate to believe that the show that they liked when they were a kid isn't shitty. So
yeah,
like
sure.
And the people are getting up in arms because like, oh, Super is canon because it's written by Akira Toriyama. And like,
no, it's not. I thought it. Isn't it written by someone else?
It's not. It is, but people are stupid.
Right.
So because there's it's canon because he said it is, and like, okay, whatever. Yeah. And then they had the Dragon Ball Super Heroes now, so it's like Super Saiyan 4 is now canon. They're like, oh no, but people in Japan are like, oh yeah, Super Saiyan 4, that's sweet. Oh yeah, I love GT. like that's an actual phrase I've heard a Japanese person that loves anime here say. Not even like one of those like normie people, but like an actual like a Japanese weeb person.
That is so wild.
Just say that to any American LGBT fan. Just get mad.
Yeah, that's like starting. That's like oh, you want to start a fight at an anime convention and be like, Super Saiyan 4 was the best transformation. People are like, run! Pile on you and beat the shit out of you. Like, take that back.
I don't know
Toriyama-sama.
I don't know a single person that likes GT. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Well, I happen to know many now that I live in Japan. So whatever.
Whatever.
All right. Well. Verdict of the day. Everyone but Flora stopped watching anime for a while. now we're back on it, but we only watch with recommendations. I actually tried this season to do what Steve used to do and download a bit of everything, but I regret it. So I'm probably gonna wait for people to tell me what's good now.
The way you and Paul watch anime, and I was like, I thought I used to watch anime pretty fast, but you guys run it out of the park. I cannot keep up with you guys. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, Paul's lifestyle is different from yours.
Yeah, busy all the time, but I still want to watch. I want to watch anime. It just makes me happy, but I'm like, but anyway, yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
I mean, I lived the same lifestyle as Paul right before I got married.
Oh, so you're blaming marriage now? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I am actually.
I mean, I would
because yeah. I mean, I feel like a jerk if it's like, all right, you're home from work. Thanks for making me dinner. I'm gonna go hole up in my room and watch cartoons for a while. Like,
oh, you mean like when
why are we married? Like,
that sounds like
it
me.
works out for you guys.
Even though Steve and I are married, Steve acts like a single man because I will make his lunch and all stuff, and Steve will go in his basement and just watch YouTube videos and play video games, and I'll never see him for the rest of the night. That's usually how.
Don't listen to them. They play games together and they do stuff together all the time. So
we do.
You grossly was misrepresenting your relationship for the viewers.
I'm talking about. Sorry. Just to be clear, yes. I'm talking about weeknights. Weekends we do spend time together, and we have to force ourselves to spend time together to play video games because I cannot sit still to play a video game. I can sit still to watch an anime, but I cannot sit still to play a video game.
I mean, there's
which is kind of weird.
There's not a lot of time
here's
during
the difference, though.
Well, is that Steve?
That's true.
There's not a lot of time during the week. Yeah, you get home, you go to the gym. By the time you get home, it's like 6, 7 o'clock. You make dinner. It's like you only have like an hour of time to yourself.
Steve's in bed by 8. So
I'm in bed by like 8 o'clock, dude.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard for us to spend time together on the weekdays. But weekends we do spend time together now.
So the thing about you guys is that works. Like you are both like into that lifestyle. Like. Yeah, all right, Flora's going to go and make a costume in her room for 10 hours, and she's fine. And Steve's going to watch some Korean pop videos for a while.
Yeah.
Where I'm married to a normie, so, like...
and you have a child.
And, well, now I have a child, too, so it's, like, double bad, but, yeah.
Oh.
Just gotta wait till...
Oh, okay.
Not bad. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Oh, boy.
We're gonna quote this. We're gonna quote this.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm letting Chuck
I just gotta wait until he's... Oh, boy. I just gotta wait till my son is over Thomas the Tank Engine and he starts getting into anime, and then I'll be good. Like, son, let's watch anime. Okay, let's watch. And, like, all right, now this
you just gotta muscle through it.
30 years before you were born. It's about a boy who turns into a girl whenever he's splashed with water. Isn't that a great idea? My wife's like, what are you watching? Nothing! Go away! Go away! We're father-son bonding time.
I can't imagine. I don't know if I had a child or whatever, like, getting to anime, like, what if they're normies? But, I won't worry about that.
What if my son doesn't like anime? What am I gonna do?
What if my kid's into sports?
Yeah. What if my son comes in my room and is like, oh, you're such a weeb, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh man, that's gonna be a sad day for you.
So, go to the convenience store, buy myself a notepad and a pen, and that's it. Like,
oh man,
life is over. All right, that got dark real quick. Sorry about that. All right, this episode's over.
Yeah, we're done.
Anime was bad. Now it's not as bad, except it still is bad. We're just more selective, and that's how we made it through.
That's a great TLDR.
Right. Yeah, thanks for listening. You can follow us on lots of social medias. We got Twitter, which no one tweets us at. Boo. We've got a Facebook, which people like and share, so thank you for that. We're also on YouTube now, even though everyone was like, put yourself on YouTube, put your stuff on YouTube. Well, guess what? We did. And we've only got 2 views on each video now, so what happened? What happened, put your stuff on YouTube, people?
It's those 2 people that recommended it.
I think they forgot.
We're calling you out. We're also on iTunes. That's by far the most popular thing, but and we're on Podbean. So go do that stuff, subscribe, and all that, so you can actually remember that we exist. Sorry, that got really passive-aggressive, but...
Yeah, you did.
Just bummed out, because I put a lot of work into it, and sometimes it's like, oh, one person watched it, and it was me. Oops.
It's alright.
Anyway.
I mean, I'm kind of guilty. I mean, I haven't looked at it or listened to the recent episodes because I'm a bad person.
That's alright. Just listen to them on your drive to work. That's what I do.
That requires downloading and stuff.
Before you leave the house, like, just click a button.
Yeah,
Alright,
man.
anyway.
Sorry.
Subscribe. See you next time. Bye.
Later.
Bye.